My name's Leahlani Johnson. I created a new work for the Cube called Before It Is Ended, and it was about exploring ephemeral gestures and mark making within a public space. So I recreated a studio space within the glass cube, and during the course of the 2 nights I developed some work which really used the actual architecture of the space as a type of canvas where you lay on marks and paint. So I also got people to interact and to lay upon their own kind of impression and response as well, which was a good experience. My current practice explores the language of time within the installation environment, and I'm really interested in creating a dynamic and kind of a dialogue between ephemeral, moving and still objects, and within the installation space it allows for a lot of different discourse and play, and a lot of different forms are created, and dialogues can happen. I was focusing on gestures that you would come across or do in a studio situation, and yet I was trying to amplify them in this very public space. So a very private gesture became very public, and it was especially amplified or subverted because it was in a nightclub setting, and lots of people were gathering there to hang out with their friends and have a good time, and yet this very kind of quiet, contemplative formula of gestures was taking place and unfolding, and if you look away you'll miss the kind of subtlety of it. So it was about highlighting the subtlety and the beauty and the movement that's created through different gestures. And with the video works and the plant material that I integrated into the work, it was a way of further highlighting the kind of fleeting moment, this moment we're all at the same venue at the same time, and yet it's all going to end. And so even with the title of this work, Before It Is Ended, I wanted to make us think about the moment, the present, and a way of kind of expanding that and amplifying that was to show these ephemeral materials in a really amplified way. Often when you see your installation work or work in a gallery, everything's very static and still, and this was a great opportunity at FreeFall to actually make them come alive in a way, and to really show the artists in the context in their studio, but also to view objects as something that could be personified and have a human quality and be moved and be responded to in a really up close and personal way. I use a lot of still objects and with ephemeral objects and with the moving gestures. So it's as if these 3 different entities and ideas about time can all kind of come together and discuss something for themselves. And working with ceramics, it's something very still and staid, and I love the idea of something pliable like clay that can be fired at such a high rate and remain then static. It's got a type of story within itself, and so I often like using ceramics because it carries so much about the process. And so my work is about the process and the mistakes and the fun kind of incidental things you find out along the way, and how they can all kind of come together and almost harmonise each other and have a discussion. So each of the interventions I made within the space acted as a type of time-keeping mechanism. So the floral and plant material work really shows a cycle of life. It is a very kind of fleeting lifespan. It's here for a moment and gone. And often the plants leave seeds as a way to kind of create the new life and extend their own. And so I was looking at that cycle of life, but also the fragileness of plants, and in relationship to more, I guess, sturdy and static material like ceramics, or like the moving image, which has a very captured and condensed materiality about it. You can fast forward the moving image, you can loop it, you can pause it, you can rewind it. So you've got much more control. So the plant material also brought it's something uncontrollable about it. There was a moment where I had the seed pods and they were just spilling out everywhere, and I actually didn't know that was going to happen. And then I had a fan going, and that created a kind of an extended effect. And so it was really interesting, almost letting the plants have a stage of their own, and letting their shadows and form dictate what was going to happen. And I also studied floristry, so as an artist I'm interested in always, I guess, bringing more material and media and meaning into my installation works, and so bringing plant material in is a way of bringing that natural order and letting us survey that. I live in Katoomba, and I often go for bushwalks, and a lot of the plant material that I used in the installation actually were from my garden, or bits of branches I've found along my walks along the road in Katoomba, in the Blue Mountains. And the use of the wind, I had the fan going as a way to bring the natural world inside this very man-made built environment of the Oxford Art Factory. So a way of, I guess, making the audience really just feel like there's something almost sublime or beautiful about the natural world contained within this glass cube, and causing them to wonder. I think a lot of my work is trying to make people wonder or question or look higher. I wanted to also respond to the architecture of the space, and also the different vantage points that I saw from the cube, because it is a glass cube, and you can see a lot of, the audience or backdrops or different musical instruments from the actual cube. So I wanted to respond to that and respond to the different people or actions that were happening outside by painting on the glass directly, and also as a type of gesture that a lot of people don't see coming from an artist. Often they see the end result, the actual finished work on canvas or in an exhibition or something, but actually to have something painted directly into the glass which they can be a part of, I thought was a way of showing the gesture of painting. And so by painting directly onto glass, I responded to the different objects in my space, but also the different audience's movement outside the cube, as a way of kind of bringing the two together, bringing the inside and the outside together in conversation.